Attention passionate Cleveland, BROWNS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland, BROWNS. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you're really paying attention to what's happening around the NFL and especially in our division, you know that the AFC North is always a battleground, a division where every game feels like a playoff game, and every offseason brings new surprises. And this year, there's a lot of buzz, a lot of speculation about potential roster moves, especially for the Cleveland Browns. Now, I know what you're thinking, are they going to shake things up? Will there be trades? Will we see some bold moves to bolster our squad? Well, recent reports, rumors, and expert analyses suggest that the Browns are definitely in a position to make some moves. But surprisingly, nothing concrete has come out yet about any official trade offers. That said, the clock is ticking, and the summer is still young. Teams are always looking to upgrade to address gaps, and Cleveland, as always, has some interesting options on the table. What's really catching everyone's attention is the possibility of a trade involving one of our promising young stars. And no, I'm not talking about the quarterback or the star receiver. This time, the focus is on a cornerback who's been generating some buzz in NFL circles, Newsome. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Newsome is just a young player, a draft pick with potential, right? Well, yes, but in the NFL, potential isn't enough anymore. Teams are always looking for the right fit, the right piece to complete their puzzle, and sometimes that means trading away promising players who might not be part of the long-term plan. Recently, CBS Sports analyst Cody Benjamin highlighted Newsome as a possible trade candidate, and the reasoning behind it is pretty compelling. According to Benjamin, the Minnesota Vikings, a team that's been aggressive this offseason, could be interested in bringing Newsome into their secondary. Why? Well, the Vikings have invested heavily in their trenches, trying to shore up their offensive and defensive lines, but their secondary still leaves something to be desired. They've lost veteran starters like Stephon Gilmore and Cameron Bynum, and their depth in the cornerback position isn't exactly rock solid. So it makes sense. They're looking for young, talented players who can step in immediately and make an impact. Newsome, with his draft pedigree and athletic profile, fits that mold. But here's the interesting part. Why would the Browns consider moving a player like Newsome, especially considering he's still pretty young, only in his second or third year in the league, and has shown flashes of real potential? Well, despite his talent, Newsome's 2024 season was somewhat underwhelming. He played in 13 games, but only managed 3 starts under Jim Schwartz's defensive system. His stat line was modest: 27 tackles, an interception, and 5 passes defended. Not terrible, but certainly not the breakout season Browns fans might have hoped for. More telling is his overall grade from Pro Football Focus, which was a rough 52. That's below average and suggests that, at least last year, he struggled to find consistency. And that's where the context gets interesting. Cleveland has a couple of promising young cornerbacks, Martin Emerson Jr. and Newsome, both of whom are scheduled to hit free agency after the 2024 season. Both have shown promise, but also struggled at times, especially last year. The Browns are in a tricky spot. They want to maximize their roster for a Super Bowl run, but they also need to think long-term about their secondary. Retaining both of these young corners next offseason might be tough, especially with salary cap considerations and the desire to bring in proven veterans. Now, here's the catch. Cleveland didn't draft a cornerback in this year's NFL draft. That's a pretty telling sign. They might be planning to address that position in free agency or through trades. And if they're considering moving Newsome now, before the 2024 season even starts, it might be part of a broader strategy to free up cap space, bring in proven veterans, or simply to get younger pieces in return that fit their long-term vision. But trading a player like Newsome isn't without risks. He's young, talented, and has a lot of upside. Giving him up might leave the Browns a bit thin at corner if they don't find suitable replacements. Of course, the NFL trade market is always fluid. Rumors swirl, and sometimes what seems like a possibility today could turn into nothing tomorrow. But the fact that analysts like Cody Benjamin are highlighting Newsome as a trade candidate tells us that Cleveland is definitely open to listening and exploring options. And it's not just about clearing cap space or making room for new players. It's about strategic moves to improve the team for the present and future. Now, if you look at the bigger picture, the Browns have been building something special in recent years. We've seen flashes of brilliance from Deshaun Watson, who's trying to find his rhythm after some turbulent seasons. The offense around him has been evolving, with talented playmakers like Amari Cooper and the emerging David Njoku. The offensive line has been reshaped with new additions, and the defense, especially under Jim Schwartz, has been aggressive and disciplined. But the secondary has been a point of concern. Last year, opponents found ways to exploit Cleveland's pass defense, and that's an area they are desperate to improve. In the NFL, the secondary is often the difference between a good defense and a great one. Teams that can contain elite receivers, force turnovers, and create pressure without blitzing excessively have a better shot at winning games deep into the postseason. The Browns have been trying to find the right mix, and that's why every offseason move is scrutinized so heavily. Moving a player like Newsome, if it happens, could be a sign that Cleveland is looking for a different kind of dynamic, perhaps a veteran presence or a different scheme fit. But let's not forget the other side of the coin. Trading Newsome could also be a way to open up opportunities for other young talents like Martin Emerson Jr., who showed flashes of promise last season. The Browns have a good core, and with the right additions, they could be formidable defensively. It's all about strategy, knowing when to hold, when to fold, and how to best position the team for a Super Bowl push. And speaking of that, fans, I know many of you are dreaming about another deep playoff run. Cleveland has been hungry for that elusive championship, and every move made this offseason is aimed at that goal. But as we get closer to the season, the question remains, will the Browns be buyers or sellers? Will they add more pieces or shed some? The trade market is always unpredictable, but what we do know is that Cleveland is not standing still. They're constantly evaluating, adjusting, and planning for success. Now, I want to touch briefly on some other rumors floating around. There's talk of Cleveland being involved in other trade proposals, possibly even looking at some high-profile players like Jalen Ramsey or other big names. And while those rumors are exciting, they also underscore the fact that the Browns are thinking big. They're not content with just being competitive, they want to be champions. And remember, the NFL is a league where one or two moves can completely change the landscape. Sometimes, a bold trade can elevate a team from good to great overnight. Cleveland fans have seen some of that in recent years. Think of the impact of some key acquisitions like Deshaun Watson or the drafting of players like Denzel Ward. Those moves helped shape the team's identity, and more could be on the way. So, as we keep an eye on how this story develops, whether Newsome stays or goes, whether the Browns make other moves, what's important is that we stay engaged and informed. Because every decision, every trade, every signing could be the one that pushes Cleveland closer to that Super Bowl dream. And I know how much this team means to all of us. We've been through ups and downs, but the passion remains strong, and that's what makes being a Browns fan so special. We believe in the team, in the process, and in the possibility of glory. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Cleveland Browns news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. Looking ahead, the Browns are definitely at a crossroads. The decisions they make in the coming weeks and months will shape their roster and their chances for the upcoming season. Whether they decide to hold on to Newsome, explore a trade, or look elsewhere for secondary help, one thing is clear. Cleveland is committed to building a team that can contend at the highest level. The AFC North is tough. Baltimore, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, they all have their strengths. Cleveland has to be smart, strategic, and sometimes bold. That's what makes this offseason so intriguing for Browns fans. We've seen the team make bold moves before, and I wouldn't be surprised if this year brings even more surprises. And let's not forget the broader NFL picture. The league is evolving fast, with new schemes, new players, and new rivalries intensifying every year. Cleveland's goal is clear: get back to the playoffs, make a deep run, and finally bring that Super Bowl trophy home. To do that, they need to make smart roster decisions, And that's why the potential trade of Greg Newsome II has everyone talking. Whether it happens or not, it's a reminder that the Browns are always in the mix, always looking to improve and never settling for mediocrity. To wrap it up, Browns fans, keep your eyes peeled. The offseason is just beginning, and the next few months will be critical. Every rumor, every analysis, every report can be a sign of what's to come. The team's future is always in motion, and your passion keeps this community alive. So stay tuned, stay engaged, and let's keep rooting for our Cleveland Browns. Because no matter what happens, our loyalty remains unwavering. We believe in this team, we believe in the process, and we believe that brighter days are ahead. Cleveland Browns fans, this is just the beginning. Let's see what the future holds. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Cleveland Browns. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates. So stay tuned for the latest Cleveland Browns news.